We started out with like suitcases and organization. We've gotten rid of the suitcase because it takes up too much room, and we're just like slowly just the bare essentials, and we're fine. I mean, we live at Airbnb, so it's a little different, because like they've got like pots and pans and usually a hair dryer, but they didn't have one in this one, so I had to go buy one. But yeah, I totally get it. It's interesting, the whole process.
Hi, I'm Kim Tolson, and I'm the traveling therapist. It's my passion to teach therapists how to navigate online private practices and multiple income streams so they can travel the world. I'm a digital nomad with a virtual insurance-based private therapy practice and a multi-six-figure coaching business. I'm obsessed with entrepreneurship and developing tools that can help therapists live an adventurous lifestyle. In this podcast, I will discuss my journey as a digital nomad. I'll chat with other traveling therapists and help you navigate the complexities of running an online insurance-based practice. I'm so glad to have you with me on this journey. A big thank you to Superbill for sponsoring this episode of our show. Superbill supports you as a provider while making it easy for your clients to get money back for out-of-network care. They offer free benefits checks in real time, and when you sign up for an unlimited account, you receive a benefits estimator widget for your website, custom tailored to your practice. Learn more at thesuperbill.com/Kim Tolson. Hi, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the Traveling Therapist Podcast. I'm so excited today. I ran across James and Liz Rumbaugh in my Traveling Therapist Facebook group, and I was so excited when I heard their story. I immediately reached out and said, I need to have you guys on the podcast, like soon as possible. So I have them both here with me today, and welcome, guys. I would love if you would just maybe tell a little bit about James as the therapist in the relationship. If James could maybe talk about how you went from being just your typical therapist to a traveling therapist. But Liz, I'd love to hear your story too. Like, how's this working for you as well?
That's right.
Sure.
Okay. Yeah, well, I'll start. I am a licensed clinical mental health counselor, LCMHC in North Carolina. I got my license back when it was called an LPC back in 2011. And I've been a school counselor for the last 15 years in two different high schools in Buncombe County, right outside of Asheville, North Carolina.
Oh, cool.
And I got my license way back then, but I didn't start actually taking on clients until 2020, until the pandemic started, and had some not time at home, but I had a mobile office kind of in the driveway, and I had some good mentors out there saying, man, you really got to get your license. You have your license, get some clients under your belt.
Yeah.
So I just started with a couple of clients after school, and that was very challenging. I mean, having a full day at school as a school counselor, all the stuff that goes on with that, and then starting clients at 3:30 or 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Actually, 4 o'clock was my first client because of the time, of getting home and things like that. So that happened from 2020 until just this past year. I resigned from the school system and opened up my private practice July 1st.
Wow.
Full time.
Amazing.
Yes, that's right. So not much time in between being a full-time therapist, traveling therapist. That all happened in pretty much one fell swoop.
Yeah, that's incredible.
So we hit the road, quote unquote, September 1st. That's a whole nother story. We have a travel trailer, so it's pulls behind a truck, and we have two boys, a first grader and a third grader, and a bunch of hotspots. So two hotspots through Verizon. And I have my own laptop, and they have their school laptops and iPads and things like that. So basically it's been we've been, I don't know, building the airplane as we fly it.
I understand. I get it.
So, that's pretty much my story for now.
Okay.
There you go. Yeah.
Awesome. So Liz, how about you? How were you able to transition into doing this as well? Because I know that's a problem for a lot of digital nomad couples or people that want to do it. One can do it, the other can't. So how did it come about for you as the spouse?
Yeah, I've been a stay-at-home mom. I've had different side projects and hustles. I'm kind of, a person who has done a little bit of a lot of things. And so kind of due to some health reasons, I stopped working part-time and was basically just a full-time stay-at-home mom, getting my health together. And then, so that was easy. That part was easy because I was already kind of running the ship behind the scenes as James worked anyway. However, the biggest kind of fear point or stumbling block for me getting into it was the homeschooling or virtual schooling or whatever we're going to do about the boys, just because school wasn't easy for me and I'm just not made to be a teacher, even though my mom was one for 30 years. Like, I just don't have the genes. And
it's hard when it's your own kids too, right? It's like so many dynamics in that. Yeah. Right.
Yeah. And we've been thinking about doing this for years. We got the camper. When did we get the camper?
2018,
2018 or 2019. It's been in our driveway and it's been kind of our home office. We originally got it for me to have his office space. It's been our guest room / home office for years. And then with the pandemic, with how virtual school went with that, which was pretty terrible for our older child who just like absolutely hated it. I mean, hated it and did not want me to be his teacher. And there was lots of pushback. It was like, oh my gosh, is that a preview of what we're getting into? Like, that's not going to work, but I don't know if you want to get into like what we do for school.
Oh, we could definitely talk about that. Yeah, I'd love to, because what we were saying before we hit record was this is a huge roadblock for a lot of families. They want to go live this lifestyle and then they can't because they don't know what to do with the kids or how to homeschool or, it just seems overwhelming. So I think they just wait or they just like, travel in the summers or, Christmas break or whatever. Yeah.
I have to say, I have to honor the fact that like it has been pretty overwhelming, just to like honor that of like, it has been pretty darn overwhelming and that's okay. And what worked for us was that the original plan was we were going to figure out some sort of homeschooling system. And the more we were looking into it and there's just a million options, I just started getting more and more overwhelmed. But then the universe stepped in and the county school that James used to work for, or the county that James used to work in, offers a virtual program and it's a fully accredited North Carolina school.
K-12.
Yeah. And it started only last year. So this is its second year. So I definitely recommend for families to look in, even if it's not in your city or county that you currently live in, maybe a neighboring one has something like that because my kids traditionally go into the city schools, but we switch them over to the county. And so it was this magical thing where it's, a fully accredited school so that and I get to just be the facilitator of it and not have to run the whole thing.
Oh, wow. That was amazing.
Yeah, it is amazing.
Called Buncombe County Virtual Academy. And it's through Buncombe County, right outside of Asheville.
Yeah.
And
is it like free public education? Is it a program you have to pay for, or is it totally free?
Well, because
through the taxes. I mean, we had some sort of payment thing, but there wasn't any tuition.
Right, but I think you have to check if you're transferring from a different county. It depends on what tax bracket the county you're transferring into. If it's a higher or lower tax bracket, so there might be. For a minute there, we thought we were going to be paying a few $1,000s to do it, and we were like, "Wow, that's a lot of money." But then it worked out. It just worked out where we only paid $40 in the end. It was
that's
like,
awesome.
And so look into the fine print of it, but that mostly worked out. And I will say, as amazing as it is, and I'm so grateful, and the teachers are amazing, and it's this great program, being beholden to another schedule and another curriculum. And for me, just with my brain wiring, I have ADHD and learning disabilities. So like looking at it, someone else's plan can be really challenging for me. And that's been the hardest thing of a learning curve, where the boys, like the actual what they're learning, they totally got, and it's fine. It's really me being able to like know what they actually have to do has been kind of a lot,
for two different students, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Zoom calls times, and now we're traveling even further west, so it's like now we're on Central Time instead of Eastern Time.
Right. Oh my gosh.
Like, there's a lot of mental gymnastics that go into it, where I'm like, do you have a call right now, and who's it with, and what do you need, but like it's already getting easier. We're a month plus into it, and it's already getting easier, and the teachers have been great to work with, and they know what we're doing, which is nice.
Oh, that's cool.
But it's been a little bit of a steep learning curve, just logistically.
Yeah, I bet. Oh my gosh. So how old are the kids? Kids?
Our oldest Miles is 8, and so he's in 3rd grade. And then our youngest Oliver is 6, and he's in 1st grade.
Wow. So what do they think about it? Are they like, God, we're gonna miss our friends? Or are they like, this is so exciting?
Yeah.
Like, I'm just curious, like the kid perspective,
it's it ebbs and flows.
Yeah, it's a constant. Well, it just ebbs and flows. I would think. I mean, the early calls are tough because it's at 8:30 a.m. Eastern. So that means that they have to be up on the Zoom at 7:30 in the morning.
Oh,
and it's
man.
Well, not worse, but we're trying to get to Colorado and maybe California, so it's even 6:35.
Wow.
Yes, that's a tough sell. I mean, they're not. Our oldest is a morning kid, but not a morning kid that wants to get into schoolwork. Like he wants to get in, but it's an ebb and flow for sure. I think we can get to it. I don't know later, but like we had a very interesting start to the trip where James and I both got COVID the week before we were moving out of our house.
Oh my
renting. And so there was a hard stop date of like people are moving in on September 1st.
Crazy.
We got sick the week before and both got pretty darn ill, but we weren't ill at the same time. I was ill first and then James got sick after me. So it was a nightmare. And then the virtual school, we didn't realize there'd be a fair amount, way more than we thought, of in-person tests that they would have to do. And so we basically moved out of our house September 1st and then just circled our town for a month.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, because
start,
third graders like in North Carolina or probably all over the country have the third grade, beginning of grade tests or like benchmarks tests,
like placement kind of like benchmarks. Yeah. Wow. Yeah.
So they had multiple tests or multiple assessments throughout the month of September, and they kind of would say like, oh yeah, no, you have to be here for this assessment next week in person. And we're like,
and I think it's just growing pains on their part. I mean, they're amazing. Like I want to speak very highly of the program. However, it's their second year, so they're still figuring out their growing pains as well. And we're the only family that is traveling. All the other families are in town, so like just popping in 20-minute test isn't a big deal. But for us, like especially motivation wise for the boys, we like moved out of our house. Well, actually, we first moved into our basement for a couple days because we were sick, and then we moved into the camper, and then we're still in Asheville, like just like we're still there, but not doing anything cool. And they just were taking tests all the time. I was like, it's not okay.
They're probably like, this sucks.
They pretty much were like, this sucks, and they were like, what is going on? And we're like, we don't know what's going on, and this really does suck.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, what a rough start.
It was a rough start.
It was rough. It's all,
but it's evening out now, and like we're at this beautiful site currently, which was a total surprise. And like I think they're starting to get it of like, okay, my oldest last night was like, well, sometimes it's really, really cool, but then sometimes I just really miss my friends, and that's kind of part of the growing of it is dealing with that duality of being like, this is the best thing ever and the worst thing ever all at once, which I kind of think is most big trips are like that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So are you guys out of the house completely? Like you said, you were renting. So you like sold your property and like, so you don't have like a home to go back to, or like this is a permanent thing?
No, we're renting our house in Asheville. So we
out to somebody.
Yeah, so we found a really great company called Pat and Allen Property Management Company, and they're local to Asheville. And they found the person. They did pictures and things like that. And we actually have a finished basement in the basement of our house. So we hired movers to move all of our stuff from the top floor to the bottom floor. And so we don't need to worry about paying a fee for a storage unit. So all of our furniture and everything is in the basement, and the renter's up top. And that's available for, being able to pay for the mortgage and things like that. So afterwards, we'll be able to come back to our house, which is, and our community, like Asheville is just such an amazing place. And the therapist community in Asheville is really incredible. So I have a good Facebook group there, and I have good mentors, and I can keep on really good communication with them. So it's really cool.
Oh, that's amazing. That's amazing. Yeah. So you rented it
September to September.
Yeah, September 1 to September.
I was going to ask. Okay. So for a year.
We have 1 full year. We jumped in full feet first into the deep end. We were like, maybe we should do 6 months, or maybe we should, wait until December and then do 6 months or whatever. So we just decided to do it. And the property value, I mean, that's everywhere, but property value in Asheville especially is like really good. So we were able to, get a good renter in there.
That's such a good solution for somebody that just wants to try it to see like how's this going to go.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cause we're stuck right now. We've got a storage unit full of stuff and we're like, we don't even want this stuff anymore. Like, we don't even know what to do with this stuff.
Oh my
like
God.
we need to sell it. We need to stop paying this monthly fee, but like, how do you even do that? So we're kind of in that place right now.
Oh man, well, about 2 to 3 weeks in, as we were circling Asheville, we kept trying to pare down what we were already, carrying with us.
Yeah.
And so we were able to go back to our house and drop off stuff and actually pick up other things. Like we had a little list of different things that we had to get. Number one was pants for me. I was like, literally the way that we left our house, we were just shoving stuff into the camper and into the truck, just get out of here. And then, I got a pair of jammy pants and some work pants, and that was it. And the other was
hilarious.
So I was like,
that's how we are. We're like 70 degree jacket, and above.
Whatever. Like we were trying to drop off things, come back, and then we got there and we're looking at all, again, probably the same thing. Got into the basement. We haven't seen our house in 3 weeks, and we thought we weren't going to see it until the very end. And we're looking around like, man, after this, we're probably going to get rid of, a lot of these things. You don't really understand what you don't need and what you do need until you're out there. Maybe that's what the message is for the listeners, is like, you only need what you need. And then when you don't, there's Walmart.
Exactly. Like, I just had to go buy a hairdryer. I was like, I need a hairdryer.
Exactly.
So I think also for listeners to know that, like, we've been meticulously planning this, like we both are planners at heart, and like used to run big events and like love the details of like really hyper focusing on something. And then in the end of getting COVID and all the things, we literally were just throwing things in trash bags and throwing it in the camper, and like it's been totally fine, and I mean, so comically how not to start a trip like this is what we did, and like and it really has worked out. And like, and if you need something, you can just go get it, but most likely you're not going to need it. And so
totally. Yeah, totally. I totally get that. Yeah. I mean, we started out with like suitcases and organization. We've gotten rid of the suitcase because it takes up too much room, and we're just like slowly just the bare essentials, and we're fine. I mean, we live at Airbnb, so it's a little different, because like they've got like pots and pans and usually a hairdryer, but they didn't have one in this one. So I had to go buy one. But yeah, I totally get it. It's interesting, the whole process.
A lot of it is you don't know what you're going to need until you're in it. And so like invest in things like technology and stuff that really helps you stay connected,
what you need,
that are black and white, but all the gray area, like literally go to Goodwill and get stuff just to start. And then if you want to buy something nicer later, you can, but most likely the Goodwill thing is going to be fine, and you're not going to be precious about it. And so that helps too,
Yeah, totally. So just hearing you bring up technology in the beginning, James, you had said like we've got 3 Verizon hotspots. So I'm just curious, like, how are you guys making that work? A therapist that needs like a HIPAA compliant type situation, kids that probably need like privacy for their school. And I'm sure, Liz, you're doing stuff online too, I would think. So like, how are you guys managing that?
Well, I have a MacBook Air that I just bought just before our thing. And so it's like tax, deductible stuff. It's really, really good. We have a really good CPA in Asheville as well. And then I have 2 different hotspots. One is like 100 gigs for the boys for all of their per month, for their Zoom calls and, video calls and things like that. And then I have a separate one that's 50. I haven't maxed it out in a month, so that's really good amount. And then what I use is Simple Practice for all of my telehealth. So I'm on there for, new notes, and I'm paneled by Blue Cross, Blue Shield, and United Healthcare. So my client stuff is all just sort of in there. I don't use any Google Docs or any sort of HIPAA compliant Zooms or anything like that. And it's relatively, inexpensive for what you get. I mean, not to be a plug, but it's like
I use Simple Practice too. Yeah,
oh
totally.
my God, it's amazing. It's
it's pretty easy.
Platform, notes, and insurance, billing all in one place, and it's just incredible.
Hey, Morgan from Superbill here. You've told your clients that you're out of network and that you can give them a super bill, but what happens next? Dealing with insurance is the least favorite part of your job. It's one of the reasons you're a private pay provider, but you care about your clients and their ability to continue their care with you. Enter Superbill. We save you and your clients time and money with benefits checks, claim filing and tracking, denial resolution, and concierge support. Let us do the heavy lifting of navigating out-of-network benefits. Learn more at thesuperbill.com/Kim Tolson.
I have a Psychology Today profile and I don't have a website. So like most of my clients have come from, Psychology Today, and then also my networking through the Asheville area counselors and therapists Facebook group.
Nice.
They ask for different referrals and you're like, oh, I need a referral for a male, blah, blah, blah. And so I respond with my, information, and they might reach out, might not, and it's okay.
Yeah. And the logistics of the actual calls, James, we have this tent that we're sitting in, which is called a clam tent, but it's basically a pop-up like pavilion tent, which is really cool. So he's separated out, and the hours have been working out where it's roughly the boys are doing school while he's doing his sessions. And so
I have earbuds. I put in earbuds as well.
So we can't hear anything, but he can be in the clam tent, this tent thing, and then he can be like riding bikes and stuff around, and then we can't hear anything, and he can't hear us. Hopefully not too much, but and then the boys, they're young enough.
They hear me sometimes. I get pretty, animated, and we get have fun with clients and things like that. And they're like, "Who are you talking to?" And I was like, "Oh, I was having a session." And they're like, "Oh my god, that's
just neat."
Yeah,
that's awesome.
And then they're young enough that they don't have many Zoom calls a day. Like the most they'll have is, I think my oldest has 3 half-an-hour classes in one day, and that's the most.
Nice.
And so. Yeah, it's not full day live lessons at all. It's really a few little pockets of time where they're on, and like they're not having to concentrate so hard that they need a super quiet environment. Like they can both be in the camper. So all 3 of us are usually in the camper duking it out. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Kind of not kidding. I'm just like giving them M&Ms and the snacks they need to like get through it. But
I can imagine.
Yeah. And then we have like our weekly assignments that we have to get done. And the program is neat because they know people are doing this for all different reasons, the virtual side of it. And so we have like a 3-day window basically to get the assignments done. So I will say, if you get backed up, it quickly gets overwhelming, where we've had to, like 2 Fridays ago, we basically had to catch up for a whole week in a day. I do not recommend that. Was awful. But this week we've been only in one spot, so we haven't traveled midweek at all. And we only had to do 1 day of work in one day, and it's been totally manageable and like way better.
That's awesome.
Yeah. We're the week before we had 3 different stops in the week, trying to get a little distance in. And that was really stressful, I think, for all of us. The transitions of spot to spot, even though we're in the camper, so it's like we don't have to move into a new house or anything, but we got behind, and then it just was too much.
I hear you.
We learned that lesson.
Look for places that have good Verizon service, so we can't be like totally off the grid. We try the second weekend, we were first week after we left our house, we were at this campsite that was right by a road, but it was a beautiful spot. It had a river, and then a campsite, and then the road, and the road was a giant highway.
The road was like above us.
Oh my gosh!
So, trucks were going by.
It's like,
it was just like I just was like, we need to get out of here. We need to get out into the woods. We need to have some quiet. We're like, oh yeah, that sounds great. So we booked this spot out in the woods in Western North Carolina. And as soon as we got there, like there was no service, like,
oh no,
like not even cell service, let alone anything with Verizon. And I had clients and they had school. So we had to go back and forth down this road to the grocery store parking lot.
Yeah.
And then get on the hotspots and things like that for the entire week. So we were just,
oh my gosh,
our lesson of having a reliable spot for internet was learned very early.
Yeah, and I was like, we're only going to learn this once. Yeah, I was like, we're not going to learn this twice, because this is like,
it's so stressful. I know it.
Oh my gosh.
Even though we can get like sentimental about it, we're like, we're off the grid and blah blah blah. We're like, we have a job and we have school, and even though we're out here doing this, we still have to mentally be like, no, we're like we're living our lives.
Exactly. Yeah.
So,
it's your whole life now. It's not just like a vacation or a random trip that you're taking.
That's right. Yeah. Maybe that's another thing for listeners is not accepting that, but like realizing what what days of the week there are. Like we started, trying to drive in the middle of the week, which was really stressful, as Liz said. So, I've been starting to kind of come down on clients or like lessen my client load on Fridays. So that's like my paperwork day and insurance billing time and things like that. It's a less of a Zoom calls for the boys. So that's like Friday, Saturday, Sunday is good, good travel days. We could be somewhere on Sunday in order to be prepared for the week, coming up, and be settled and, ready for the onslaught on Monday, even though we're out here. You know what I mean? Same. Yeah. It's portable. Stresses.
Yeah, it is. Exactly.
I think too, also, like, I think our intentions of this trip were just different than different travel we've done in the past. Like James and I, before we met, both were outdoor educators and have done, really exciting backcountry adventures. And we, of course, want to share that with our boys. But for this trip, it was like, we want to reconnect with each other and we want to reconnect with nature. And that nature might be, an amazing park in the middle of a city, like that has like awesome Wi-Fi that makes it really easy,
Totally.
They don't care, like they don't need to be going on 14-mile backpacks. Like they just want to ride their bikes and be settled, and so it was changing our mindsets too, of just like, what is the big picture of this? And that, I think that's helped all of us to know that and be like, if we don't go to all the hot spots and touristy places and like big name spots, like no, like actually what works better for us is a out of the way place that isn't too crowded, that has good, be connected really easily and is near a store. Like that's what we need for this trip.
Absolutely. I can totally relate.
We'll come back and like do all the other stuff later,
readjust expectations, maybe.
Yeah.
Think about on your podcast of being like, no, I want to hit all the national parks, and you look and you're like, damn, there are 64 of them.
Yeah.
I know they're the national parks.
Well,
figuring out like what your priorities are for why you want to travel in the first place,
Yeah.
I love that.
Doing work and school on the road, like just how much time and energy that takes, like it could easily, we also really did not want to be beholden to a schedule and itinerary and a lofty goal that was going to make us rush around and be stressed out trying to get from point A to point B. That's exactly what we're trying to get away from, of just like around like a chicken with our heads cut off,
Yeah.
And like for a long time, we joked that we were only going to make it to Kentucky. Like we were only going to make it a couple states and be like, you know what, screw it. Like, we don't need to go anywhere else, and like that kind of happened in a way. Like we basically cut out half the country in our like basically plan because we left 2 months later. We thought we would, and we just like, we're like, no, it's already too cold for that whole northern part. So we're just going to skip that and go through the middle and end up at this amazing place in Kansas. And like, I'm so glad that we didn't have an itinerary because even if we were pretending it didn't bother us, I know it would, we'd be like,
it's like, it's so stressful and it's exhausting. I mean, it really is exhausting if you're trying to just like boom, boom, boom and knock out like all these different, sightseeing national monuments or stuff like that. It's so stressful trying to like hit these milestones. So I hear you guys. I totally can relate to that.
Yeah. And our kids were already, especially our oldest, was already pushing back enough that we were like, we need to make this. I mean, it's already been stressful enough, and like we need to just really dial it back and make it as like streamlined as we can.
Yeah, and we were talking about what states to go to. I got on this website. I got on an app. I found an app. I think maybe one of the apps that you were shared on your Facebook group is telemental health laws.
Yes. Person-centered tech.
From Epstein and Becker and Green, a law firm.
Oh,
and what you do is go in there and you can look at different states' mental health laws and telehealth and see if you need to be licensed in their state. And so I literally made a spreadsheet of all the different ones that either got back to me or didn't get back to me or said no. And a lot of, in the beginning of our planning, we actually had a United States map.
Yeah.
And I colored them in green and red, or I colored them in yellow. Yellow was like, 30 days for Colorado. If you're not licensed there, you can only be there for a month. Florida is the same way, I think.
If you come from North Carolina.
If you come from other states.
Yeah.
And some flat out was like, California is really tough. Like you have to be licensed even if you're not seeing them. So I would have these little email exchanges and, not a phone call, but like email exchanges. And then I would call up Liz, maybe it's from work or something like that. And it'd be like, oh, Kansas came through. Like, yeah, Nevada's
you're in
okay.
Kansas.
All right, good. And it would be green to be like, no requirement for their licensure. And it's all good. And it would be good to make sure that is above bar for everybody.
Absolutely. Thank you for saying that.
Not getting in trouble or whatever.
Right.
But I mean, people go rogue. I mean, I don't know. You definitely don't want to be doing that. But yeah, it was a good process, and lots did not write back, and those didn't. I would just kind of skip over. But even with that, at the end, there was like a good little route across, and then back this way, and we could kind of plan it out.
So right now, I was just going to say, so right now, are you guys just kind of taking it as you feel like you just want to move on to the next place, just kind of like doing it like that instead of like, okay, in 2 weeks, we're booking a place here, we're going to get there by this date, or how are you?
I have never traveled like this. And Liz, I don't think it was ever traveled like this, just 1 week, literally 1 week at a time.
That's cool.
And looking for places that have RV places, RV parks, and Verizon service. Like we would literally call up their place and be like, how's your cell phone service, and what do you use? Do you know AT&T? I know Verizon is what we need. And they're like,
that's cool.
we have a Wi-Fi, like, I mean, I don't want to like rely on somebody else's Wi-Fi and then get slowed down either with my clients or with their school, and then not have service. So it's like it's really kind of a funny way to travel.
It makes sense though. You have to.
We just want to go west, keep going west, and get on the weather, because we are now in October, early October. So we kind of want to be in the desert Southwest in the fall, and then kind of turn around and head back the other way.
And then go even further south to head back.
Further south to head back. Yeah.
Nice.
I will say
have some family in Key West, and
fun.
Awesome. Yeah.
We kind of gone to a rhythm though, where it's like we try to stay every other week. We'll stay for a longer chunk, so we'll have like alternate more of a travel week.
That's true.
And then a longer stop, so that we can make some distance and like be in a different climate, a different, like show the boys something new.
Yeah.
And then in the travel weeks, we've been using the website harvesthost/boondockers.
Okay. Oh yeah, I was going to ask how you guys were finding the RV sites and stuff. Okay, harvesthost.com/what?
Well, it's harvesthost.com, but then they bought out another similar service called Boondockers Welcome. And so it's one app now.
We can send you the link for that.
Yeah.
I'd love that. Yeah.
It's really, and it's basically like a free-ish Airbnb style app that you can go on and people open up their property, and that could be businesses. So it could be farms or breweries or wineries or whatever, or just people's property, like their spot in their driveway or on their acreage or whatever. And if the thing is, like, if they're selling a product, so if it's at a farm or something, then you don't pay a fee to do it, but then the understanding is you buy something from them, to like thank them for doing it. But we've been finding, I say James has been finding these spots. I've been dealing with school, not been honest. But these amazing people who are fellow travelers mostly, or they're retired and just want to meet interesting people, and they just open up their homes. And a few of them we've had like water hookups and been able to plug into their power. And it's
like an Airbnb service for RV and van life, and
that's so cool. So so most of them just let you do it for free if you like buy a product, or do some of them charge, or is it pretty much all like
mostly the brewery? There's like breweries, wineries, there's even golf courses that you can park your and those are the ones that you would need to buy something from them. If it's an individual person, like we stayed in somebody's property, 3 different places, one in Kentucky and
2 in Missouri.
In Missouri. But that was just somebody's driveway, which sounds crazy.
Which sounds totally sketchy.
But also it's like you think about Airbnb 5 years ago, you're like,
right.
But I mean, these people are incredible, and what they love is to travel as well. So they might get into really good conversations about where they like to go, and so you get some tips. And the one guy from Kentucky's retired, so he loves to just like tinker around and provide a space for young people to park on his little field. And I have literally, like, I wrote a review for his place, and I was like, there's something magic in that field. We had the best night of sleep ever. It was like so quiet, the stars were incredible. So it's like, it's really interesting and fun way to travel.
I love that. Are there lots of options, or is it like far and few between, or are there like tons of places?
Depends on where you are. I mean, when you're more east, I'm sure that'll pick up in the west, but I mean, you get on the app and there's just, like kind of an Airbnb type thing. There's like dots everywhere.
Oh, cool.
You kind of look at what city you want to go to, and then they zoom in on the city, and then they have little dots about what it is: a brewery, a winery, golf course, individual person's home.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so cool.
Around Asheville, there was not as many options, but it's a hard place to find lodging anyways, but it's building momentum really quickly. And so, but out here, I mean, even in the most remote parts of Kansas, there's at least been a few options, and there's reviews as well. So you get just like, a little sense of what people have thought, I don't know how much of it is a false sense of security, but I mean,
that's good though.
It definitely is like a certain level of quirky that you need to be like ready for the host, but but no one's been overbearing. And I mean, that happens at campgrounds, and that happens anywhere in the world, But we've had our privacy, and it's been really quiet, and it's been away from the fray, which has been nice. I think our boys weren't as excited about it because they couldn't just ride their bikes everywhere, which they can do at campgrounds. But we balanced that out by this week being at a regular campground, and they've had all the perks of that. And so
you're right about week on, week off sort of thing. Next week is kind of our travel week.
Yeah.
And then the week after that, we're trying to be in by, like Sept kind of Four Corners area.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
16th or so.
Yeah, the hardest part of traveling this way has been my parents want to come visit us, and we have like no idea what to tell them. Like, we don't know where we're gonna be.
Where are you gonna be when? We're like,
couldn't tell you.
So that honestly has been the hardest thing. Like, just logistically, if you want to meet up with people, whatever, it's hard to figure out. It's like strangely hard to figure out,
Yeah, totally. I can relate. Because we want to see our families, but it's like, okay, well, we do have an Airbnb this 1 week that's got 3 bedrooms. So if you want to fly in, you can stay with us and then fly back out.
Right now, so I'm kind of like, well, where do you guys want to go? Like it's so wide open where I'm like, what climate do you want to be in? Like, what, like, where do you, you need some sort of parameters, but we'll figure it out.
And then when we try to do that, we find that we get stuck, like pigeonholed into places that necessarily it doesn't line up when the time comes. So then we're rushing to get somewhere, so that's been a challenge for us too.
Cool. Good to know. I mean, any tips are welcome.
That's just been our experience. We're pretty new to it too, so we're kind of learning like you are, like trying to pace ourselves and find like a week is too short, maybe 3 weeks is too long in places. So we're still trying to feel that out.
Exactly.
Challenge, but it's so fun. I'm so glad we're doing it. It sounds like you guys are having a great time too.
We get into this place that we are this week. I really felt like the reward for the like rockiness that has been going on in this transition. We were like, this is why we're doing this. Like, yes, and I mean, we've been to beautiful places and we've had definitely high moments, along the way, but I feel like this week we all really got into like
kind of settled down
a settled better mindset and like kind of groove.
Nice.
For sure.
That's similar to what we went through too. It's like it's nice, but the stress levels are really different because there are just things like the car we drive is like a BMW. We could only get it fixed at a BMW dealership, and we got a flat tire, and it was like a 75-mile tow job. It was like stressful. And it's like, why are we doing this? But then we get places like where you are, and it's just beautiful, and it's like, okay, this is why.
That's so true.
Exactly.
It brings you lower on the going back to the client stuff, going back to the lower end of the Maslow's hierarchy.
Absolutely. I mean? Totally. Basic needs have to be met.
Yes, exactly.
I hear you. Well, you guys, thank you so much. This has just been a great interview. I just can't wait to follow your journey. And will you tell everybody how to find you if they want to follow your journey and be a part of what you're doing?
We'll send a link out to you, but we are the Rambling Rumbaughs on Facebook, and that's Rambling, RAMBLING, and then Rumbaughs is RUMBAUGHS, and we're a private group, so just answer the questions and we'll let you in. And we are who we are. Family of 4 traveling.
I love it. I love it. Yes.
We go.
Making it up as we go. That's right.
So exciting. I can't wait to hear what happens at the end. If you guys decide to keep going or if you decide to go back home or what.
No.
I'll be super curious.
It ebbs and flows. And that also
I know.
with our boys, they're like, this is awesome. We could see this, and then it's like turns the corner and
it's like, I hate you guys. I need to be home. But yeah, I'm sure it's just like really stressful.
Well, yeah, our older son's best friend moved to Columbia, South Carolina right before we left.
Yeah.
Which was so hard anyways. But now every time we ask Miles where he wants to go, all he says is Columbia, South Carolina, which is like has beautiful things to it, like we're definitely gonna go there, but we're like
hour and a half from Asheville.
Maybe around.
We're like, we promise that's on the plan.
Oh yeah, can you get to me?
Yes, on the swing back up in the spring.
Yeah,
that's right.
As hard as it's been, I already feel like I don't know how I'm going to transition back into the other version of living.
That's how we are. We're like, how can we ever just live in one place again? Like, that's going to be so boring.
So true.
But we'll take it one step at a time. We'll see how we're feeling in 12 months.
Yeah, right. Exactly. It's like 2 years from now, we might be like, we are over this. I mean, who knows?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Exactly. Like all we want is boring for a while,
Exactly. Right. Stability. Yeah. I hear you. Well, thank you guys so much. It's really been great talking to you and getting to know you.
Awesome. Yeah. Thanks for inviting us.
Yeah. So
fun.
Now, here's a question for my listeners. How many times have you told your clients that you can provide them with a super bill since you're not in network with their insurance? We know that every insurance plan is different, including out-of-network benefits. And it's such a hassle for your clients to call their insurance company to figure out coverage. Superbill is the solution. Superbill's widget can provide benefits checks in real time. Input your client's insurance information, and within a matter of seconds, you and your client can see their benefits and estimated reimbursement for mental health services. And the support doesn't stop there. Superbill supports you as a provider and helps your clients utilize their out-of-network benefits. Superbill's team of insurance experts will file their claims directly with the insurance payer. From there, your client can track their reimbursement status online and lean on Superbill's team to resolve any rejected claims. When your clients save time and money on their therapy, you can retain them longer, and it's a win-win situation. Let Superbill do the heavy lifting for seamless out-of-network insurance claims. Visit thesuperbill.com/Kim Tolson to sign up. That's thesuperbill.com/KYMTOLSON. And get your first month free when you use the promo code Kim Tolson. Thank you so much for listening to the Traveling Therapist podcast. For show notes, links, and downloads, head over to thetravelingtherapist.com, where you'll be able to learn more about my journey, the courses I've created for you, and other exciting resources to make your dreams become a reality. If you've enjoyed this episode, please share with your traveling therapist friends, subscribe to the podcast, and if you love this episode, please leave a review.